Hello, my friends, and Happy New Year. This is my first workshop of 2025. 2025. Wow. So this is my Nests of Winter 8 page featuring the um, Nest of Winter paper. So that's what this paper is. And then the Winterly Treetop stamp and dies. So you're going to want this stamp set or some kind of bird stamp to add in and some sentiments. Um, and I love the dies. So I actually keep my dies mostly in here. These two dies, let me show you this paper. So something really cool about this stamp set. So I've got the birds already on a block and I just did them on the same block because we're going to cut them out. So these dies match the stamps. So this die is that one and this die is this one, but they are also this one and this one on this paper. So super cool that your dies also cut out one of the papers. And then I also just wanted to point out, you've got all these little circles that I've cut for you, right? All these little circles, some have birds, some are just green with birds on the backside. Those were cut from this paper. So just some fun ways to use these papers. Um, all right, we're going to jump right in and kind of walk through what you've got in front of you. You can say these bird circles and these dies that I've already cut for you. You're welcome. Set those aside. You've got some embellishments that we don't need right yet. This paper on here, I want you to stamp one of each of these two birds. Well, three birds altogether, right? But two stamps and cut them out, whether you fussy cut them or you use the dies. It's totally up to you, but you need one of each of those two stamps out of this paper. And I gave you extra in case you want to do more or if you must up, you've got some extra space. Now here's where I want you, where we're going to start really kind of working. On here, you're going to take, you need two different circle dies, a 2.5 inch and a 2 inch. And you're going to pick out which birds, and they're, you've got lots of fun choices. You need three in the 2.5 and three in the 2 inch. So wherever you decide to go, and you can actually get four of each very easily out of here. You just decide where you want to go with it. And, they're all going to end up different, but go ahead and get those pieces cut out with your dies and set those aside. We're going to use those on a layout in just a minute. It's nice because once you get those things done, then you've got a lot of the work already done. So in order to divvy this up so that everybody could have some, I just wrapped this around a piece of paper. So you've got some of all of the ribbons that we're going to use. You've got these circles that are going to go along with these circles here. Keep all those together. This piece here we're going to use in two different ways. So you'll want to go through and get that popped out of there the best you can. If it's not perfect, that's okay, because we're going to be using it in different ways. You've got a strip of these embellishments. These are just little strips of die cuts already done for you that we'll be using on lots of, throughout the whole workshop. So those can get set aside. And now we've hit page number 1. So you can take your two gray 12 by 12 pieces and everything above it we need. And all the rest of this you're going to just set aside for now. And we're going to focus on just these two pieces. You've got, so this layout is, it's a very simple one where we're just taking two 12 by 12s, two 8.5 by 11s. So those are going to line up right in the middle like that. And then two 2 by 12 pieces. So that's the foundation of this first page. So you can go ahead and get that part taped down. Oh, can you? Hold on. Let me double check. No. First, we want to do some splashing. Before we start doing that, we're going to do a little splashing. So you'll want a splatter box and whatever tools you want to use to splatter. I'm going to be using a Wink of Stella brush that's already got black in it and some white paint. And if you used your last splatter box to wrap a gift in, then you can just grab some newspaper to protect your surface. And I want some splatters on the bottom right of the left page. So right in here, a couple of splatters up top here on that one. And then over here, we're doing the opposite. So down in this corner and up here. Okay, so that's where we're going to do our splatters. So I did the white splatters, and then I'm also going to go through and do some of the black splatters. Now to do this, you're going to want to create just a little puddle of black, and I'll clean that up when I'm all done, and just splatter it the same way. And then give that just some time to dry before we go monkeying with it. Be sure to clean up any mess you made. While you're waiting for that to dry, you can add adhesive to the back side of the film strips that were in that plastic bag. And those are going to line right up on these 1 by 12-inch pieces of brown paper. And then one of them, we are going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't want this one right here. So we're just going to cut right along, and I'm actually going to bring it down just a little bit and cut along where, so that I'm leaving a little bit of blue on here. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So that you've got these two pieces that each have 5 holes of film on them. And then this little piece is just going to be garbage. And hopefully by now we are dry. Let's take a peek. You are definitely better off if you allow yourself time to let it dry. Give it, 10 minutes. Pause your video, walk away, and be patient. Otherwise, you're going to be frustrated with yourself. Believe me, I know. Okay, so on this strip, what we want to do is cut it down to 11 inches, which is going to be just this side of that blue, right, like that. So I just cut off one square. And all right, so you start with your 12 by 12. You've got your 8.5 by 11 that's going to be evenly spaced, top and bottom, a 1/2 inch up, 1/2 inch down. And then your 2-inch piece is going to go at the 1-inch mark, which gives you a perfect little frame around this piece. Then I'm going to take my blue pattern and I'm going to put that about, let's see, it's going to be about 6.25 inches over. So that gives you about 2.25 inches here, leaving you enough space now to put this and still have some of that blue showing on the other side. Excuse me. All right, then we've got you decide light or dark. I think I'm going to go darker with this one. I'm going to put this notebook strip along the edge of the green. So we've still got some of that gray showing. Now, if you aren't sure what you're doing with your pictures, you don't have to add the photo mats. You can just leave this as it is. But I did, in this case, give you white mats that you can add. So in this, for this one, I've got 2 3x3s. One, We only have one. I will make sure everybody else's has two. And then these are going to get placed on the blue with just a little space in between them. Move this down. I'm just going to want one of these for now and make myself a little note to throw another one in there. If you already have your kit, I apologize. But if you're adding your pictures, it really doesn't matter anyway. All right, now we need our little circles. We've got, if you'd prefer to have more of these birds, you certainly can. Check both sides before you start adding these. I've got this one tucked behind there, but coming up onto the gray. And then if you want to use foam, you certainly can. I think I'm going to use some foam because I want it to kind of lift, but we're using blue on this page. So I want to show you how I did the ribbon. First, figure out where I always, when I was putting these on here, I tucked one piece kind of behind everything. You want to figure out where that is, and then it'll come loose. We're going to use all of one color on each page. So this page is the blue page. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to wrap around 2 fingers, 3 fingers, maybe 1 finger, and then cut. Then where they all kind of clump together, I'm going to take a little bit of my glue dot. Let's see, I'll take one of the medium sized. I think these ones are a little easier because then you can take the glue dot and wrap it around the ribbon. And then we want this to be behind which bird? This bird right here. So I'm put that right there. So we've got all this fun little string hanging out. And then add my foam tape, which I put right there. So I've got the 3D dimensionals that I'm going to lay out, including over top of that ribbon to make sure it stays put right where it is. We don't want that moving. And then take off the backing. And this is an overlapping of photos, so you can take the backing off of as many as you want. Okay. So now I've just added some of my gems. Pull your gems off and add your gems where you want them to. And then I used a white gel pen and did dash marks around the blue and little white dots around the circle. So you do as much or a little of that as you'd like. I also took the brown or sepia pen and did a double journal line around the edge of the page. Otherwise, that one's done. Let's move on to the second side. This one is starting the same way where we're putting the 8.5 by 11 on the 12 by 12, flush this time against the left edge so that those two pieces then end up together. Leave your little space to put the green, get your little border on there. Now here's where we start getting different. This time we're going to take, it's a 5.5 by 6 inch. So you want it to be taller than it is wide. It's just slightly, but it's taller than it is wide. And put that right in the middle of this space here. Best you can, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then we're going to add our 2 strips that we created. And then we've got this I love this pattern and just a little touch of it over here. Okay, and then we've got our photo wells, a 4x6 and a 4x4 that I overlapped. Now, if you don't like the overlapped look, you certainly don't have to. I framed this, it's about 3/4 of an inch here, here, here. And then I just overlapped this one, leaving the same amount of space down here that I did up there with the overlap. Then I've got my two green circles. This one I tucked underneath this picture just a little bit. And then this one is kind of resting on this strip down here. Now we've got I've already taken the ribbon and attached the ribbon with my glue dots. I'm just going to go through and add some of my 3D dimensionals. Okay, so we've got this bird that's going to overlap the green circle up here. And then you may want to rein your ribbon in a little bit or just kind of play with it, tuck it so that it falls where you want it to go. And then down here, don't take the backing off of the top because this is going to overlap this picture. So you still want to be able to lift this up so that you can get your picture in there. Just be mindful of that. And obviously I gave you way more ribbon than I used. You use it as much or as little as you want. All right, then that's done except for the final steps, which again, I did the white gel pen. If you did it on the other side, you'll want to do it on this side. White dots around those circles. And then add your bling wherever you want to add your bling. That's it for our first set of the Nests of Winter. Let's move on to our next set of pages. With this one, I used the Wink of Stella with the black again, and I splattered black here, here, and up here. You'll want to do that and let it dry. So if you're going to do that now, hit pause and come back in 10 minutes. Grab these 4 white pieces. You can even do this while you're waiting for that to dry. You've got these 4 white pieces, and we are going to adhere the 2 hexagons pieces and the 2 scallops that have the flat edge. You decide if you're going light or dark with them, but those are, you're going to attach adhesive to them. And the scalloped one, I left a little bit of a white edge along the flat side. Not much, just a little smidgen. You decide, or if you want, you can just put it flush right up to the edge. I like the way it looks. It gives an extra little bit of bling. So do that to both of these. And again, if you did it on that side, do it on this side so that they're the same. Because on this layout, both of these are going to carry across both pages. All right, and then same thing here, but with these, I would say use a little more adhesive than I did on the last one, because you're gonna have to cut this out. I know, I'm sorry. It's gonna look really super cute, but you're gonna have to cut it out, so you're gonna want to make sure it's sticking to your paper really good. And then these are just gonna go in the middle again so that we can cut them out. If they don't have to be perfectly straight. Just get it right on there, and then use your scissors and get those cut. It also is cute if you want to just leave it flat. You know what? I'm going to do this one just straight. I'm not going to cut it. But obviously, I think it looks better if you cut it. But this way you can see both ways and make an informed decision. Okay, so on this page, we're just using one of each of those. The hexagon goes an inch down from the top-ish. It's not, it doesn't have to be perfectly an inch down. I'm gonna make mine be, yeah. I'm gonna go down. And then this piece is going at 1¼ inches up with the scallop face down. Next, you need your green stripe piece. And again, if you have that little white border, make sure you're leaving that. Then we've got one of these, and I just love both sides. I love both sides of this paper. But look at the teeny tiny little birdies in there. They're so cute. The nests of winter. Adorable. All right, so a 4x6, 4x4, 4x4. If you've got your pictures, you can just add your pictures right in there. If not, you might want to add some little pencil notes to it so you know what size pictures you need for in there. So we've got our 4x4, and there. So these photo wells are actually 4¼ by 6¼ and 4¼ by 4¼ Okay, and then we had all those circles that we set aside earlier. You can go ahead and add the ones that fit to each circle. Go ahead and pop them in there. Leaving a little bit of that. And this has that fun scallopy ridge to it. And that is going to show around the edge of all of these circles. So go ahead and get all those on there. And you're going to need this part of the frame, this piece, save. We're going to use that in a later page. And then we're going to take this, and if you have any like this one where I couldn't get the middle pieces out, where I'm not going to use that, but you just want to kind of snip these apart, and we're just going to tuck these behind some stuff. So I'm just snipping off these little bits. Even this little one right here, that can always get tucked, behind there. So go ahead and snip all those little pieces off. So I've picked out which pieces of the frame that I've cut up I'm going to use for this side of the page. And I've added some string to each one of my circles. And now I'm just going to start placing my circles where I want them to go. And then if you want to do any foam on any of them, now's the time to do that. Okay. Pull that right in here. Overlapping. I've got him overlapping that bird. And then I'm just going to take this piece, and I might need to cut the backing off just a little bit. Yeah, because I don't want that to show. So I'm going to narrow this down a little bit. So I can slide this under there better. And then we've got plenty of room. So I did thanks and much love. You stamp whatever you want there. This sentiment is from this stamp set, the Winterly Treetops stamp set. All right, so I want to bring this set of birds over enough that I've got enough room for this blue guy over here. And with him, I'm going to do dimensionals, but I don't want to pull the backing off of the ones that are closer to the top because they are going to be overlapping the picture. Get the string down here. All right, so I'm going to just put my fingers on the ones I don't want to pull the backing off of so I don't forget. And I'm overlapping this so you can't see the pink paper behind that circle. So we might lose some of that guy's tail, but that's okay. And now I still have room to lift this up and get my picture in there later. And then add your dimensionals, your little embellishments. And I did little dots with the white gel pen next to the hearts and the circles on some of them, just for a little added something. And then I took I actually used the black pen and did dash marks right along underneath the white there. So you decide if you want to do that, but otherwise that one's done. Foundationally, this page starts the same, but before you tack on that top piece, you're going to want to add this guy. Oop, I cut him a little bit different. This is an inch down. I think I'm going to slide the whole thing up a little bit to 1.5 inches because this piece is a little bit shorter here than what I did over here. So I'm just going to modify my other side real quick. So I just moved that whole line up so that it carries across the whole page. Okay, now we're going to add our photo mats. So we've got a 4x6 and a 3x4. I overlapped them. As always, you do you. If you like it overlap, do it. If you don't, don't. All right, then you've got some green string left. You've probably got tons of green string left, way more than you need, but I'm going to use it all. I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to put some on both of these. So this circle I tucked underneath the photo mat. This one I've got lots of foam tape. I've already added my ribbon and some of my little stems there. And I'm doing a little bit of a different direction with this one. I'm going to come down a little bit with it and kind of fill in some of this space. Oh, I think this has to come down. Ooh. Slight modification here. I'm going to put this down on the other side. Let me just put this down first. Come down with this. Then see, and this piece, I think I'm going to actually cut these separate because then I can tuck them at different angles. A little hard the way they were. Weren't lining up quite the way I needed them to. There we go. That's lovely. All right, then I've got a few more. And these ones you can leave the line on, the extra frame, because we're just going to tuck it right behind there. Tape right on the front. So I'm going to put those there, and then I've got a couple of these little ones. Whatever you've got left, if you want to just use it up down in this corner, you certainly can. There we go. Okay, so again, I added some hearts in lots of places, and then I did some white gel pen around some of the hearts, little dots, and then dash marks underneath the white there. That one's done. Let's move on to the next one. All right. So for this layout, if you're going to do any of the splattering with the Wink of Stella, you're going to want to grab your heart strips and your two base pages. On one of the base pages, we're doing just the bottom right corner, and on the other, we're doing just along the top. And then both of those hearts are going to get splatters. Okay, so get that done and let them dry. Truth be told, it'd be lovely without it too, so you do you, whatever makes you happy. All right, so you've got two different sizes of these papers. Some are a little bit wider than the others. You want the wider ones, the narrower ones that are 2 3/4, we're going to use on the other side. So here you just need the wider ones, and those are going to get attached along the top, and then this white piece is going to go right underneath it. Most of the paper is the winterly treetop or the nests of winter, but I did use this brown piece was from To the Market. As you're going through, if you're like, well, this doesn't really match, because it's not. All right, so we've got all those pieces down, and then we're going to take this heart strip and kind of cover up where all those pieces overlap. Oop, over the white. And don't do what I just did if it's not quite dry yet and smear, because you will smear your whole danged thing. Whoopsies. Okay, now I'm going to use brown ink and um, that weird crazy stencil. So the inside of that frame that we just used, we're going to take some ink and lay the stencil down, and I want these going this way, so I'm going to hold it like this. And I'm just adding some ink in there. So then when we put our photo mat over it, all you're going to see is that little wisp of brown showing. I'm going to do another one kind of down in this corner here, coming down into the edge. A bit like that. And then I want one of them over here. And just a couple coming down right in this area. Now this picture is going to be about 2 inches up, so you want to make sure that you're not going to show where, where here where all the ink kind of flattens out. Okay. Prep work done. Now we can take our photo mats. This one's going to go up here, and you might want to, take a look at where your birds are, so you're not covering up all your cute little birdies on that paper. Then we've got a 3x4 and two 3x4s and there we go, 3x3 photo well that are going to go along the bottom here. We've got this one, and you just want to, when you're putting this one down, make sure you're covering up wherever that shows. And this one's going next to it. And then our 3x3 goes right in here. And you may need to, depending on how everything falls, you may need to move things around a little bit. Like this little one, this one in the middle, I'm going to just slide it over a smidgen. There we go. Okay, so you've got birds that I already cut out for you. I'm going to actually put my glue dot on the back. This one's just going to get a couple of little dimensionals. And then this one's going right down in the corner here. Then this one, I'm going to put a glue dot on the back. Kind of right where the two birds meet. right in there. And then I'm going to take my string. There we go. And I want that to be coming out both sides here. So I'm just going to keep flooping it here, back through. And I don't want the string to be the same size each time. I'm going to make it longer, shorter. Do this as much as, as many times as you want. And then add some dimensionals and add that. So I just put some foam on the back, kind of overlapping some of those fun strings. And then I want this to come right near the corner of this picture. Got my fun string going all different directions. I want this one up here. No, down here. Okay. So we've got all those. Now I added 1, 2, 3 gems up here for that cluster, 2 down here, a little heart right there, and then I did dot dash, dot dash, dot dash along the end of the bottom of the white piece. Totally up to you if you want to do that, and then a double line around the edge, both of those using the black journaling pen. But that finishes this page off. All right, now before we even get started with this one, I want you to cut one of those circles off. And then we're going to take our smallest white piece, add some adhesive to the back of the heart, and we're just going to, you want it to overlap the end a little bit. It's going to stick out both ends as even as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, I did it again. Again, if you're not dry, careful when you rub. Rub it that way. It'll be much better for you. Okay. So we are going to take this piece and put our adhesive on the back. And this is going, let me just put a little bit of tape there to hold that in place. So you want this to be along the bottom, not too close because we're going to add that border again, right about there. Then we're going to take our 2 3/4 inch pieces, and these are going to line up on the edge of the white. So we've got our brown, and then one of the bird pieces. Then I'm going to have you put the other bird piece down next so that we're sure it lines up along the edge of that white. And then we'll put this one in so that if there's any overlap, the overlap happens in the blue section. All right, grab next your white 1 inch piece. And I did a dot dash along the edge there. I also did a dot dash along the edge here. Again, totally up to you if you want to do that. This piece is going, let me measure. All right, that one's going 11 or 1 1/4 inches down from the top. So right here. That's straight. That doesn't look straight at all. 1 1/4. I'll bring it closer to my face. Okay, then we need from our borders, we need these 2 pieces that are a little zigzaggy. You decide if you want to go light or dark with them. I think I'm going dark. And I think with these ones, it's easier if you line them up together and tape them together because they're so thin. Otherwise, you get tape kind of everywhere. And these go on the top and bottom of this piece. Then this is where I did I stamped "A friend like you brings me happiness." Um, you stamp whatever you want, or leave it blank and wait and see what you end up adding to this page. But again, all of my stamping was from the Winterly Treetop stamp. All right, grab those last three photo mats for this page. Oh, before we do that, let's add our stenciling. So I've got some stenciling happening on the edge over here. And then I want some to go, you don't want them to go all the way up, but pretty close to those zigzags that we just put on there. And then I also want one hanging off the edge on this side. So I'm just going to figure out where that might be. And put one over here. All right, now we can place, oh, let's do over here too while we're doing it. So this one's about 1.5 inches in from the edge. I always forget which way they go, but you want them to go so that they're sticking out toward the edge of the page. We're going to go right in, bring that in. Love it. Okay, so we've got our 4x6, and I'm placing it very specifically so that it shows that whole frame that we just did. I'm going to do the same thing with my 4x6. So it's going to come up a little bit. I'm moving it over so that everything shows. And then my 3x4, you can either make it overlap this picture, or you can just line it up underneath this one, totally up to you. I'm bringing it down and overlapping because that's what I like to do. All right, so I've already taken my string and wrapped it. Now I'm just going to add my pop dots to various places. Again, making sure that sometimes I'm holding that string in place. Okay, and then this one is going down next to this picture. I've got the beak kind of overlapping the picture. And then just watch whichever way you want your strings to go. Get them heading in that direction before you go pushing everything down. Love it. And then same thing up top here. You may want to get your stamping done first if you're stamping. I'm going to just leave this one generic. Add something to it later. Put my little bird up here. I added hearts and circles up in here, dash along the top of the white. Again, like I said, a little dash down here. Couple of gems, and I did the double border with the black journal pen around the edges to finish that one off. Let's work on our last set of pages. Start by placing this piece on the brown and just trim off the extra. You'll be trimming off about 1/2 inch. And then that gets framed on that white piece. Next, we're going to take these birds and we're going down about 3/4 inch on the brown. And then we're going to put this one right next to it. You're leaving about a quarter of, yeah, about a quarter of an inch. Okay, next you're going to take these three and or these two, and whether you decide to just line them up and trim them, or if you want to use your cutter and measure them, you want them to, you need 6 3.5 inch pieces. So you can line it right up here and just trim using your scissors, or you can use your paper trimmer and cut it. Okay, so we're going to add our 4x6 down into the space. I'm coming off center with it a little bit. Then one of our 3x4s is going to go right in this space here. Then the other one, I'm going to, you can use foam tape if you want to lift it up, or you can just lay it flat. I'm going to leave it flat for this one, but I did use foam tape on that one. And I'm going to just wrap this around the bottom. You want to leave yourself a tail, and then this is going to go twice around. I'm just going to pull it off at this point. Yeah. So much easier this way. Okay, so we've got 1, 2. Then we're going to just kind of tuck that underneath and tie a knot. And it's okay if it's not perfect. We're going to modify it as we're going to just play around with it a little bit. So you can kind of move the strings around so that they land right where you want them to go. Now, if you want to use foam tape, you can. I'm just going to lay this flat. The other thing I did with this photo well, did I do that the wrong side? I did. Whoopsies. Oh well, this one's going to be darker, and that's okay. I'll do a dark one on the other side too. I added dot dashes along the bottom of this one. I did white gel pen, double gel pen around the edges. Then I took my pen and did little dots, big dots, random dots. You could do this same technique by doing the paint that we did earlier and just, splatter painting it. Totally up to you how you want to handle that. This is a really fun idea. I added a gem just behind this photo, and it creates an extra little dimensional element to the whole thing, gives it an extra little layer. Color these before, and however you want to color them, whether you're using markers or colored pencils or whatever makes you happy, but color them before you go ahead and add them to your page. It'll just make your life so much easier. And then, stars, dots, add your bling. And then we'll move on to our last page for this project. So this one we started the same way we did the other one, except flipped it upside down. So now we're adding this strip to the top instead of the bottom. We're adding these 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the brown. Get your little lacy pieces along there. Then we're going to start adding our photo wells. So I've got the 4x6. One of the 3x4s overlaps that one, or you can bring it, if you're someone who doesn't like them to overlap, you can bring it down. And then we've got this one up here. Now this one up here, you decide if you want to do a little stamping on there. This page is basically done, right? Now we just need to add our bling. So we've got our bling, whether you want to splatter or not. Dot dashes along the top. I did thinking of you always, but you can stamp anything you want. White gel pen around the brown. But that was the Nests of Winter 8-page project. I hope you enjoyed this. It created some ideas for you, And if you did my workshop, please tell me, how did it go for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you improvise? Did you change stuff up? I'd love to see what you've created. Thanks for playing.